Obviously from Burleson, Texas, there's not much else to do, but there wasn't much else to do. But I just remember always playing, and I gratefully had two older sisters who also did, they did three sports in high school. So I'd always go, one was 6 years older than me and one was 3 years older than me. And of course, I was the young kid going to watch her sister play. And of course, I had to race all the other kids underneath the bleachers. And I just always, with balls and everything, I was always wanting to play. I never wanted to stay inside. And thank goodness back then there was only like Atari and Nintendo just came out. But like I just always wanted to play. And I still remember like just being out in my front yard, and we lived on acres, and I would like toss the ball up and be like this, and I'd hit it. And then I let it land, and then I would run as fast as I can to get it and then throw it back to the house. And if you think about it, you'd be like, that's kind of weird, but I just loved to play, and I actually loved to be outside. When you're in high school, you don't realize like college is not easy, and education is very important. And to play sports, you have to have a grade point average and all of this other stuff. But I didn't realize then, but I just couldn't choose. In high school, I just couldn't choose which one I loved more because I loved them all. And every time I finished one, I loved starting another. And I missed the one I just left, but I loved starting another one. And it's like the honeymoon stage. I'd go through it often, every year, but I just loved it. And I am so grateful and thankful for Laurie Corbelli, because it's a Division I top volleyball program, and she let me play basketball and let me run track. And in the end, at the end of the day, I chose volleyball. And with all the freedoms and missing every spring, I never did a spring volleyball training ever in my career because I was always doing another sport or having surgery. So for her to allow this to happen, it's amazing. And I honestly feel that's why my career was long until the bus accident. It was long and extended because my body it never had to recover, I guess. I don't really know how to say it. It's like I never was doing the same movement. I was always changing movement. So I just truly am thankful that she let me, I didn't have to choose until my junior year in college. I chose to go only volleyball. Yeah. And we'll never know. Like I always say, there's proof that it's great, but there's also proof that it makes that not as good. But for some reason, for a wonderful reason, it worked for me. It was something that I needed, something that Stacy needed to find really what she loved and really go to the highest ladder. I don't know, to the furthest I could go. I did it, and I truly believe it's not the ladder doesn't go like this. You have to take that first step. You have to take step number one before you take step number two. Yeah, so I have 1 million quadrillion memories. I mean, awesome. Like, of course, the Texas A&M versus Texas the rivalry was incredible back then. It's still, there's a rivalry, but I always feel like it was like, I could feel it. Like I woke up the day of and I was like, we have to play Texas. Everything was like, if I was eating a hamburger, I was like thinking about the game. I was not 1 second did I not. And then the fans, oh my gosh, the fans at that game, you couldn't do anything but play better with that energy the crowd gave you. And those memories, the Texas memories, are the playing University of Texas. I would say it's still like one of my top memories. And the second memory would be football games.
Yeah.
Gosh, Texas A&M football games are, until you go to a Texas A&M football game, you do not understand what it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm always like this when I walk in now. I'm so proud to be an Aggie, especially when you walk in, you see hundreds of thousands of people just cheering. Anyways, I love it. That's my memories of Texas A&M I love all my memories. Oh, I mean, yes. And the biggest thing I could say is I would like, this sounds typical once again, but it's Stacy became Stacy. Like I came from Burleson, Texas, and I didn't realize how small it was until you leave. And I had to be in college. I had to go to school. I had to go to a lunch before I went to a practice, before I had study hall, before I had, it's a lot. And I couldn't just pawn it off on anyone, or couldn't be like just one day like, I'm not going to. It was like a daily routine that you had to do. And I am, yeah. Oh, it was perfect. Um, I remember because I was at Texas A&M, and I was an All-American outside hitter. I was a hitter, and I love just, I mean, anyone who plays volleyball, from the age of like 2, the first thing you want to do is like, let's go hit.
Right.
And like I loved hitting. And then me and her name was Chrissy Smedrud. She played on the Texas A&M team. We would always get the top kills, but like at the end of the game, we would check to see who had the most digs or the better passing percentage. And it was just fun for us to not fight over kills, to fight over digs and serve reception. And I loved it. I loved serve receive and passing. But of course I loved to hit. But Laurie Corbelli, the Texas A&M coach, she was an Olympian. You can't take anyone's advice better than hers. And she was like, you could be an attacker if you like to on the USA team. You could try it, but you would be 4th or 5th, maybe. Like you'd be fighting for a position. But she's like, I still remember this. She was like, I really think that this is your position. You're just passing and playing defense, and you're quick and you can pass. I think that you could possibly, you have a better chance, for lack of better words, as a libero. So I never even thought second about it. I trusted her so much. Like she's my mom, my best friend, my sister, my coach. She was everything. And once again, my Olympics was my goal, my dream. And for her to say that, I didn't even question it. And I thought it was kind of cool. I was learning even when I was there, and even the coaching staff was learning. Even USA Volleyball, we would learn all the time of what the rules were, and to learn them. It's not, I don't want to say it's difficult, but it's new. It's something that it hasn't ever been done. And to see it progress, like I still to this day tell people like, we didn't serve. And that's one thing that people can't believe, like, you didn't serve. And I was like, yeah, the libero still doesn't serve. And I kind of like that the lower, like high school and college, I like that they still get to serve, because it's another point of the game, not just passing and defense. So the growth of the libero position is incredible. And I love that I'm so old that I can say I'm the first. I was the first one. I'm that ancient, it's fun to say, but then it it ages you just a little bit, but it's still fun. I was doing an interview the other day, and I said that the excitement I used to get off of killing the ball, like, is the same excitement I get when I'm covering the ball and the blocks, and I'm like, and they're like, they cheer, they think they blocked, and like, oh, and they have to get back to the net. That is like the same feeling as attacking. So I found the excitement in the libero position. I mean, I tell everyone, like, I remember reading back in the day the encyclopedias, like about Russia or about China and the Great Wall, and about like Italy there's like Roma. There's so much you hear about, you read about, and I didn't know. I not only lived there, I like saw it with my own eyes. Like I wasn't reading about it. I got to see it. Volleyball took me all over the world, all over the world. And it all started in Burleson, Texas. It's so crazy to me to even just like listen to my story. I'm like, wow, I would never have thought. Like I lived in Italy, I lived in Spain, I lived in Russia, and I lived in Brazil. I mean, I lived in these countries, which is for me incredible. And the greatest thing is I got to learn the culture of all these countries. Like you don't realize it's very different. Like here in Vegas, we're open 24 hours a day. We're like, but like if you go to Italy, you're closed, and then you have restaurants and they're all family owned. You don't have, fast foods and stuff everywhere. It's like family stuff, and the way they all go to dinner, and their dinners take like 100 hours, and you sit and talk and go through 7 courses. But it's like I never knew that. I just knew about the boats, and I just knew about Venezia and Milan, and I didn't know about like, all the people who walk in the center of the city every day to have a espresso and talk, and I could go on forever. But like about in Russia, I mean, I lived in Siberia. I lived in a city called Omsk. I lived in Siberia. I lived in the Canary Islands in Spain. I mean, it's like, I'm like, wow, I lived in the Canary Islands and Siberia. So every time someone says it's cold outside, I'm like, you think this is cold? Because Siberia is colder. So it's so fun. And it's fun to like joke and talk about but then if I think about it, I can't believe I actually lived that life. I love talking about it. And it all, like, once again, it all started in Burleson, Texas. Yeah, I don't have any memory of the accident itself, or I have videos from like we had a little party get together as a team before that. I have videos and pictures. I don't remember that. I don't remember obviously the trip or the accident, and I don't remember 31 days after the accident. And there's a lot of terrible videos of me with like because they shaved all right here. My scar is on my head, and they shaved this but left all this, so we had to flip my hair over, and like I don't remember like a single minute. Like it's kind of frightening, and the memories I have, I always think sometimes now, like are these memories or are these what people told me? And now I think they're my memories, because I couldn't even remember I remember sitting at the rehab place. It was called Casa Colina, and I was trying to figure out like email or my password. I didn't even understand. Like I just remember sitting there not understanding. And now I'm like, oh, email, and it just already saved. But I didn't remember. There's a lot of stuff I just lost memory of. And do I remember some things? Yes. Is my memory completely wiped out? It is not. But once again, like, what is my memory, or what was told to me? Like what was so it's kind of like weird to everyone, but I always say you have to take the positive road. Like watch what I'm always saying, look, oh, I was in an accident and I was like, I was paralyzed. Guess what side? This one. I always like do that at camps, because like I could sit here and say like, woe is me. Like I didn't go to my 4th Olympics, woe is me, but I'm alive, and I gotta like walk around my house on both of my legs and see with both of my eyes, and bend down, and like I got to do everything I wanted to today with no hesitation and with no handicap, right? And it's so sad for me to think how I missed my 4th Olympics. It makes me so sad, but at the same time, it makes me happy that I'm old now. I would have retired one day. I would have been, but like at least I'm retired. Like I can still be athletic. So it's a terrible accident, but I always say it's also a blessing. It's a positive. I'm going to take it as positive as I can. Yes, I actually run an academy. It's a volleyball club here in Las Vegas, and I named it Sykora Academy. And I just didn't want it to be just a volleyball club. I want it to be an academy where you learn like the mental game of volleyball, and I love sharing stories with them. And I love I'm not going to textbook coach them. I'm going to coach them at like when I was in the Olympics and this happened, this ball happened next, and this is what I did to it. So try it. Like, why not? I'm not going to say it's going to work, but it worked for me. And I love like teaching that instead of teaching like the book part of volleyball. Gosh, I was actually doing a volleyball camp here in Las Vegas with kids, and I took the phone call because I was just thought it was a parent of a camper, and I took it, and I remember just being like hanging up and just standing there. Like it sounds so typical, like my reaction, but it is really like I am so honored, and I have done a couple of I've talked a couple of times about it, and that word is like overused, but it will never get old. The honor I have is to be my name, to be put up with these amazing names that everyone knows. And then there's Stacy Sykora. It's for me, it's really unbelievable. And I'm still haven't grasped it quite yet. I mean, I have, so unfortunately, when I started Sykora Academy, my father passed away. And then a year later, my mother passed away. And those were like my biggest fans. And it's kind of, I really, and once again, you have to take the positive road. Just, I'm saddened that they would, of all people, they would have been like, oh my gosh, the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. Like they would have been like, oh, I can imagine. I mean, yeah, it would have been beautiful to have, not beautiful, wonderful to have them there. But I have every one of my best friends and the people who mean so much to me will be there. Like I have a Texas A&M, her name's Lisa Brandt. She was Southwest Conference. Anyway, she got Hall of Fame Southwest Conference basketball player. I have three of my one manager for the basketball team and another basketball player at Texas A&M. And then my best friends, my family from Burleson are coming. And then Laurie and John Corbelli and Debbie Dare from Texas A&M, who are the reason why I'm sitting here today. And then I have my best friend at the time now, and my fiance, I can't wait to like share this most important moment, this incredible moment with like the people who have walked the walk with me. It hasn't always been like this uphill. It's been like, oh my God, right? It's like, oh, I'm terrible. I can't. Oh, yay, I can. Oh, right. So it's been a roller coaster of amazing and life-changing and great things that they've been on this road with me. I mean, like Billy Lucci too, he'll be there. There'll be people, like obviously my coaching staff and my best friends there, and my family that aren't the name Sykora, but they're Burleson. They basically raised me, and my high school coach will be there too. And
that's awesome.
I was trying not to forget people because I don't want them to think I'm not thinking of them, but like everyone that is going to be sitting at my tables will be the reason why I'm sitting at the table I'm sitting at. And that's just clearly, people say it all the time, but it's very much the truth.